Welcome to the Deeper Into Movies podcast. My name is Stephen T. Hanley. I'm the founder of Deeper Into Movies. We're a pop-up cinema based in London and New York. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by the writers, directors, Cazzie David and Elisa Kalani. We are here to discuss their new movie, their debut, I Love You Forever. I Love You Forever is like the darkest romantic comedy you've ever seen. It's like a black mass or a requiem for modern romance and the current dating scene. It's just so funny and so dark. I urge you to see it. You can get it wherever you get movies, online and in cinemas, distributed by our pals at Utopia. It's always kind of interesting when you have two people on the pod at once, but this was great. This just turned into a group chat. And we got into it. We're talking about the movie and getting the tone right between the funny and the sad and the downright scary. And we had a great discussion on the Twilight franchise, which was so important to me. I didn't realize how invested I was or how much I had to say, but these ladies brought it out of me, and I'm forever grateful. So this is me, Cazzie, and Elisa. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
I feel like it's a little bright on me, and I have to do.
You look gorgeous. I wish we had little mics.
It's a little bright, you guys. It's distracting.
Okay, we comfortable with lighting fixtures? Mine's like too dark, but this is England, so
I think it was maybe the contrast of you. Like I felt like
I'm underlit, but it's fine. This is
It's always better to be underlit than overlit.
This is London at 7 p.m. So we're doing good. So I always ask people when we start, what kind of teenager were you? So can we take turns in answering that?
I was loud and in retrospect annoying. But I was kind of not to be like I was very unique, but I was like a unique type of cheerleader because a teenager because I was a cheerleader in high school, but I was also like in this weird art program that was like known for having like the art freaks. So it was kind of like every like those like teenage movies when you like walk into the cafeteria and there's like all the different cliques. I was in like all the different cliques.
Oh god.
So it
were
but I
you
had
popular?
like no, like not like a cool girl, but I was friends with pretty much everyone. But I wouldn't say popular at all, but well liked maybe.
It's so funny because you always talk about how you were like this loud, teenager, and I think of you as so chill and honestly like on the quieter side. So it's just like so funny that you were once that,
Yeah, I think I grew out of it quickly. Also, I don't know. I feel like I exhausted myself. I like didn't sleep at all. I like cried a lot. I like spoke a lot, and I kind of like got it all out of my system by the time I turned 18, it feels. But I loved comedy and watching comedy. I also loved like, rom-coms from the early 2000s and the late 90s, and I feel like that formed a lot of my interest now for sure.
What comedians did you like? Who was your guys, as Mark Maron says?
My guys. I mean, I read one book about Fanny Bryce, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever just because I had like read one book, but I really loved at the time NBC was so good. It's like kind of a boring answer, but I loved the fact that like there was like a comedy lineup of all these television shows that felt really, really laugh out loud funny. And I it made me love TV, I would say. And I know it's ironic because this is like we're talking about our movie and this is a podcast about movies, but originally my
No, we can
love,
talk about anything. So go
yeah, but
off.
originally my love for television, for entertainment started with TV.
And what were you crying about? Not to get too deep.
I would every day. I would come home and I would literally cry every single day from ages like 13 to 16 just because I felt like everything sucked. But so it varied. I would like, it was my nighttime routine. I would go in the bathtub and I would cry and I'd come out of the shower and I'd be like, okay, time for bed. But it was I don't know, normal teenage girl stuff. I hated myself probably more than anything else.
I was a super cliche stereotype of like a rebellious teen. Like wore a lot of black eyeliner, smoked a lot of cigarettes, and hated my parents and like hated my life. And I think, I had a lot of anger issues towards just other students and people in general. At the time, it just, I don't know what I thought it was, but I think now I know that I can, like, it shaped my comedy in a way because like that kind of misery, I learned how to make it feel funny, or find the humor in it, find the humor of things that other people were doing that were annoying me, or like something embarrassing that happened. And when obviously as a teen, that makes you just feel more miserable. But now it's like, oh, this is material. But yeah, a very miserable, like rebellious stereotype, I'd say.
How would you act out? And what were you rebelling against? Just everything?
I really hated authority figures. I still do. Hated being told what to do. Couldn't believe that I couldn't make my own decisions. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Elisa, you have a funny story of visiting me, and what was that happened? I forget.
Oh yeah, well, Cazzie and I met in college. We met our freshman year. It's actually like the most boring story of all time. We just happened to live on the same floor freshman year, and we became fast friends. But that summer after that first year of school, I decided to visit Cazzie in LA, and I was alone with her sister for like 10 minutes. And the first thing her sister says to me is, "You know, Cazzie was really scary in high school, right? Like, are you afraid of her?" Which I wasn't. But I had heard that she was scary in high school, so I was prepared for that kind of thing.
Like I wasn't a bully, but I was like mean because I was so upset all the time.
I mean, I also think it was hard to not be a bully at that point in history and time because of the internet. Like there were so many things that were just like quote unquote funny that was just cyberbullying. And it was really hard to not be some sort of bully at that point of time.
And Cazzie, what were you watching that was inspiring to you?
Mm. Loved Nora Ephron movies, and loved just comedies that my parents showed me, and duos like Nichols and May I loved. And um yeah, obviously it was like prime time, like was obsessed with Gossip Girl. Like that was my favorite show in high school. Yeah, I would say those were the biggest hits.
Who's your favorite Gossip Girl character?
Oh,
Blair.
Blair,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Nailed it. So how long have you guys been friends?
10 years, a little
Yeah.
over 10 years. We met in 2012.
Were you both studying the same course?
I was in the film and TV program. Elisa was in a marketing program and then switched over, I think, in second year of college. And she would help me with like all of my writing assignments, like all of my homework that I was like too lazy to do all by myself. And I would force her to help me. And we just were so good at working together on these writing assignments that like that kind of inspired us to start writing together, which is hilarious.
What was the course like? Was it practical or was it all theory or just submitting Did you get to make stuff, I mean, or wasn't, or did you?
Yeah, a bunch of different courses. I mean, we had one class that was literally writing for the web series. I don't know if they still have that class because I feel like it's less popular to make web series now. But so we ended up in that class together after Elisa switched over, and we wrote a web series together in that class. But it was just, yeah, really random. Like we went to like a weird film school. There was like a class for stand up. Like there's very, niche industry courses.
Our specific major was writing, so it was like practical in the sense that every class was a writing class. But like, if your focus was directing or if your focus was production or whatever, like those courses were also practical. They were just completely different, but less theory for sure.
Did you have fun? Was it good?
I didn't have fun, but I think I wouldn't have had more fun anywhere else. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
Elisa had fun.
I had a good time. I have a good time pretty much everywhere though. It's like it's hard for me in that way because it's hard for me to say no to things.
And what was the class like? Was there a kind of an era? I remember when I was in film school, everyone was either trying to make Donnie Darko or Boogie Nights were the two things everyone was trying to be.
Yeah, I mean that never goes away. It's like always boogie nights for sure.
I think it's a really easy. I think film school in general is really easy to like bullshit your way through. I mean, we would always
Totally.
make jokes about it. Like you could just pretend something means so much more than it does, and people just buy it. And I don't know. I don't. There was so many things that people did. I mean, I remember there was like even like art performance classes, and like you could take it as just to get a grade to pass another thing. I don't really remember, but for your final project, you could literally do anything and say it means anything. Like I could come with like this water bottle and make up some bullshit about why this is art, and I just found that to be insane. And then in that way, it was very easy. There were some courses that I took very much more seriously, which was like essay writing classes and pilot writing. But the other stuff was really easy to bullshit your way through.
And how long has this film been in the works? What was the spark of the idea that you guys had for it?
We first wrote this movie like 5, 6 years ago is when we started. It came from a really personal place, and it was, like after we both had these like experiences and relationships like this, we like realized a lot of people did go through similar things, and there wasn't much media about it at all.
I think we wanted to make like a rom-com for our generation, and this idea that, after, kind of realizing that a lot of people have had the same experience, there's, the ideas kind of came together where it's like this rom-com that like these rom-coms that we've grown up on start the same as these kind of like textbook emotionally abusive relationships. And how kind of like perfect and ironic that is to make a rom-com about this subject. And I don't know, obviously very ambitious to try and make it funny, but we both are, we write comedy really only. I think it was like a really big, it was quite a challenge to try to make anything that wasn't comedy. But to use our like comedic skills by writing about this subject and like kind of see what happened really. And have the premise be, what it's like beginning to end to enter this kind of relationship and the cyclical nature of that abuse cycle throughout their time together. That was kind of what spawned it. And then it was really just getting into the very like meticulous ways someone can manipulate you, and making it also feel subtle so you're not being like hit on the head with like a message and morals.
What rom-coms did you watch and research? What are your favorites? If we're putting aside the psychotoxic nature of rom-coms.
One we talk about a lot is Twilight. Just because everything Edward Cullen does is toxic. He shows up unannounced. He's stalking her basically, but it's sold to us as love. We
We were
less
like obsessed with the scene where she's asleep and he just like shows up in the middle of the night in her bedroom. Like that was the most romantic thing I'd ever seen, and it was like it's so deeply like messed up. Yeah.
The Notebook was a big one for us too. It's actually the scene in our film where Finn runs into the street and lays in the street was kind of an exact replica of that scene in The Notebook where he runs into the street and is like, lay with me. And it's meant to be this whole romantic thing, but we flipped it on its head, which is
Also when he just like he says he's like holding on to the Ferris wheel and he
Yes.
threatens to let go if she doesn't go on a date with him. So there's all these like really small things, these tropes and rom-coms that we feel are so romantic and they're actually red flags. And it's obviously not a new concept, but making a movie that really is kind of, showing that in its entirety was definitely the goal. And then there's movies like Fatal Attraction that, like someone is very enticing and then it turns into this nightmare, was also inspiring. But it really when we were making it, we weren't really as much inspired by other movies to make this movie as it was just like, oh, this was a personal experience. Like we should write a movie about it. And like, what does that look like?
And just to go back, what is your favorite of the Twilight franchise? If you had to pick a single movie.
I like the first one.
The first one, if you watch with a straight man who's never seen it, is like the most fun you'll ever have.
100.
Like that, like if I could do that once a year, like with a new straight man who's never seen Twilight, like I would be fulfilled forever. The first one's hilarious. The second one, no, the third one's my favorite because it's the most like love triangle.
Eclipse, yeah.
Eclipse is like whoa, because like she's really can't choose between the two men, and I find that really funny and interesting. And then the last one's crazy.
Breaking Dawn Part,
Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Yeah. What's the one where he gets really angry in the cinema and gets like a testosterone rage?
Wait, what?
They go to a movie and werewolf guy gets really angry.
Oh, I think that must be New Moon, no?
It must be the second, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. That's my least favorite.
Really?
You have to be Team Jacob to love New Moon.
I have to skip
Choosy
through that
Team
one.
Jacob. No, Edward. Yeah, I'm Team Edward, definitely.
Okay, so then the New Moon's can't be it's New Moon's very Jacob heavy.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest one. All right, I'm gonna reassess. It's definitely 1 or 2.
It's okay if you like it. I'm just saying.
I'm feeling bullied to change my opinion. I feel like I'm making the wrong choice now.
No, 2 took a little bit more of like an artsy turn, and I feel like maybe you liked it because it was probably like a better made movie.
They're all kind of terrible, but yeah. There's that one bit where she comes into school and they're like, Bella, you haven't been here in 6 months. And I was like, where the fuck was the time lapse in that?
Is she really depressed?
That. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the second one.
Yeah, and she comes like, hey, you haven't been here in 6 months. What the fuck? And then I was like, I didn't even read that.
But I don't remember not being at school. I remember her being at school and like being miserable.
We all need to rewatch.
Here's what I'm going to say about New Moon, though.
Okay.
This is really important. New Moon is actually an incredible breakup movie. Like it really does capture. It's a horrible movie. It really does capture heartbreak in a good way. New Moon.
So were you guys compiling like your greatest hits of bad experiences in the dating hellscape?
Yes, of ours and all our friends, and not even necessarily like the toxic, emotionally abusive stuff. It's like just stuff that sucks about dating in the internet era as a whole. We tried to like fit into this movie. And also there was a lot of just like research involved too. of relationships like this, and as Cassie mentioned, the cycle of abuse, and like seeing for the abusive part that like it's pretty textbook, and anyone who goes through something like this kind of has the same experience.
All of our single friends, including both of us when we were single, like there's so many funny things that happen with like these, you know, these dates. The water thing is like inspired by my friend who went on a date with a guy, and like he stopped at a bodega on their way home, and she asked him to get her a water, and he came out, he got like a really big water for himself, and then got her like a tiny like water bottle. And she was telling me that, and I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. And like, how can we fit that into this movie? You know, they're not going to the gas station, but like, how can we fit that in? I think anything where a guy is treating, you know, a girl who's like desperate for affection and love terribly is super, unfortunately, relatable. Um, Especially to our generation that have like, you know, that is growing up in the age of, you know, Tinder and these dating apps, and like there's so many options, and so like nothing's ever good enough and it doesn't matter. But yeah, I think the dating scenes were actually the most fun to think of, like what are the worst possible things we've ever experienced that are like exaggerative in this way that, you know, we can play with.
And how does the writing partnership work? Are you both at the laptop? Or are you passing drafts between each other?
Well, we always start like we break every story together, and we outline together, and that's like very much like both of us behind the same screen. And then, you know, we'll pass different drafts and different scenes and whatnot to actually write out between the two of us. And it's really funny because we are like on the same page 90% of the time, but the 10% of the time where we have different opinions, we like, you know, we'll argue with one another, like, and fight for what we believe is right for the story. And we trust each other so much that we usually start fighting for the opposite side, somewhere in between the argument. Like I'll take Cassie's point and she'll take mine. And then we're kind of left realizing we need to find like a third new thing, which ends up being the right thing. And those are like the moments that I think are the most fulfilling, honestly.
I mean, we have really similar taste. So it's reassuring to have someone when you're like, is this good? And they say yes, like you trust them entirely because you have the same kind of sensibilities and you think the same things are funny. But we're both really obsessed with story and both feel like that's the most important thing for any movie. And making sure, you know, the comedy is there always. I mean, I think we're both so averse actually to anything being getting too earnest that in those heavier scenes we were like, like we need to put a joke in, like I'm like I feel icked out that it's like not funny, it's like too earnest. And we both kind of lean towards, you know, just wanting it to be as funny as possible, without obviously losing the point.
And how is it navigating and kind of basically keeping it that the funny bits are funny and the serious bits are serious and dark and disturbing? It's kind of a fine line between that tightrope of a tone. How was it navigating that through the movie?
I mean, I think it was the kind of thing where it's just like we did not know if it was going to work until we started showing it to people, and it seemed like it might have. It was really just like, well, hope this, you know, hope this lands. You just know until, yeah, people watch it and kind of respond to it.
And there was a lot we shot like not knowing if it would work, or hoping it would work, that we had to just cut out in the edit because we realized we were pushing things too far. We had, you know, there was in that hotel breakup scene, there was originally a moment where Finn, Ray's character, pees all over the bed, like in a rage and kind of being like, you know, call back to earlier in the movie when he's like, just pee in my bed, just pee in my bed. He pees all over the hotel bed. And, you know, it's like that was something that we had thought maybe would work and keep, you know, this funny but kind of crazy tone in line, but then in the edit it's just like, no, that's just crazy. And so there was moments like that where there was a couple of things like that where we had to find it in post.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the tone is very much like it's definitely heightened. Like, obviously, this Jake character, like who's like the fuck boy, like nobody, hopefully, is that bad. But everyone knows someone who's like kind of like that and kind of like pushing it to like the farthest extent while it's still feeling grounded and people can connect to it. And so, like that scene that we deleted, it was just like no one can really relate to this. It's maybe a little bit too crazy. And so finding that balance, it like, yeah, it was kind of just um trying to make sure it didn't go too far while still staying far enough that the tone feels heightened and funny.
And how long were you casting for?
We casted it, it feels like it was like around a year when we were talking to people. And we weren't really able to do much auditioning. So it was a lot based on just talking to people. And so we ended up really gravitating towards people who had really resonated with the material and had their own experience they could kind of bring to the character. I mean, it really is such a complex topic. Like it doesn't seem like it might be, but there's so much nuance to it. And it's such a confusing experience
Yeah.
that to have some knowledge about that and some experience is actually super helpful to play either role. Um, I mean, they go through so many different kind of versions of their character. I mean, Sophia, who plays Mackenzie, she's who she is in the beginning of the movie, and then who she becomes throughout the relationship, where she ends up being kind of this like Stepford wifey, like she like talks in a really high pitched voice because she doesn't want to set him off. Like she becomes a completely different person in the same way that the male lead does, where he becomes kind of like this Jekyll and Hyde version of, himself. So they both are playing kind of a lot of different roles in this one character. So I think that was really important to make sure that, the male lead could kind of do both, be this kind of charming leading man that tricks someone and kind of that could entice, a woman in, and that she can kind of play both those roles too.
And how is it on set? Do you split roles? Did you each have a strong suit, or are you doing everything together?
I think we were doing everything together. Obviously, on days where Cazzie was, had to act too, there was um there was more on my plate just because I lost my buddy who I like to turn to and be like, was that good all the time? But she does a great job of also directing herself and um, she does.
I think it's easy. I think when you're the person when you're a writer, it's more that you know how the line's supposed to sound, like the jokes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so if you don't kind of nail it when you say it, you know that you have to do it again. I think I would have a really hard time in scenes where I was directing and I was in it, because I would kind of just be watching them to see how they were doing. And there was a lot of like, it's your line. And I just I just like wasn't in the scene because I just so wanted to watch them and see if they were, how they were interacting with each other. But so it was better to lean on Elisa for those days so I could actually be in the moment.
And I think in terms of like the split tone and the split days or whatever, we constantly joke about how we never want to do something that has like this element of darkness to it again, because the
Mm.
days on set that we were straighting issue comedy, they were so much fun. And then the days where things were more intense, it was like, we wanted to give the actors the space to like live in it and be in it. And so there was just like a different vibe. And we don't
What
love
a
that.
bummer, am I right?
It was just night and day. And so, yeah, the next one's going to be like a slapstick comedy.
What was the hardest part of making a debut feature? Can you pinpoint something, or the hardest scene to get right?
I mean, I think the hardest part of doing anything the first time is just all the stuff you don't know that, the second you finish doing it, you're like, damn, that was obvious. I wish we had this piece of information about allocating this to this budget or this for the schedule or whatever it is like the minutia. There's like thousands of little different things that we've learned from and hopefully will be easier the next time.
Yeah, I think learning learning the lessons that you learn after shooting the movie and knowing what you could have done differently and not being able to and having to sit with that is really frustrating, for how you could have avoided, certain things to have made the movie more what you envisioned. And then kind of accepting that it is what it is and this is what happens and that's the process. But I mean, I think a lot of it was obviously the hardest. The scenes with Ray kind of flipping out, you really want to be able to buy it, and that's the most important thing. And so I think making sure that you could buy it was the biggest challenge, because if you get that wrong, it's like the whole movie is kind of fucked. But I think thankfully they had so much chemistry that is obviously so essential for like any convincing love story. But with a story like this one, where you're actually also trying to show why someone might not leave a relationship like this, and wanting the audience to be able to sympathize with her, that chemistry is like everything. So I think we both felt so grateful that that was also going to help people, an audience, buy this story. So a lot of it was on that, and that's not, that's nothing that we can, there's nothing you can do about that if people have no chemistry. So we definitely lucked out.
And Cazzie, I saw you on Seth Meyers. You're the first director I've ever seen to trash talk their own movie whilst being on a junket.
I'm glad
that was special. That was...
Thank you. I would acknowledge that. I said, I think I'm the first person to ever do this.
That was a choice.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I'd say bad, but it was super entertaining. But I was like, wow, this self-deprecating, and then there's like, this was flooring my movie.
Yeah, I think she was charming during it, which helped. But I mean, it is true, and it's like, I mean, Cazzie and I talk about it all the time, where it's like, it's hard to make a bad movie, let alone a good one, and just filmmaking is so difficult, and there's so many things that are just like out of your control, that it's, as filmmakers, it's hard to not look at the scenes, like the scene Cazzie mentioned in Seth Meyers, that we're supposed to be a certain way, and just kind of like let go. And
yeah,
I'm honest to a fault. Like it's a problem. It's a problem.
Well, you'll see things that no one else will see or even know were meant to be there. And don't they say like there's the film in your head, the film you make, and then the film that comes out?
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it's normal for people who make. Most people who I know are really good hate most of their work.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I told director friends that was great, and they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean,
Oh no, you should have seen our reaction when we found out you liked the movie. We were like,
oh my god, we were
not possible.
we surely thought someone was playing a prank on us.
Really? That's I can't take it seriously that people really value my opinion that much. But that's great. I appreciate that.
No, thank you.
That's on me.
So we were so thrilled.
What do you guys want to do next? TV series, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like our one thing that we're just like desperate to do and prove that we can do. It's like the thing we've been working on for 10 years. I mean, the movie was so great because it's in our tone, and that it shows kind of what we like the stories we like to tell. But a TV show is definitely like our dream, and hopefully we can. I mean, we've been working on it for 10 years, and the movie ended up coming out first, which is great. But it wasn't expected. So yeah, hopefully we can get it to happen. It's been a long process.
Have we covered everything? Do we want to talk about Twilight or teen movies more?
Definitely covered Twilight.
Okay. That's just me asking to talk more about it. You said this was a romantic comedy for the era. What would you cite as the last great romantic comedy for a generation, other than Twilight?
I mean, there's other really good subversive romantic comedies. Like I loved Ruby Sparks. I thought was a really good example of one. A great just romantic comedy I thought was Jesse and Celeste Forever. Like that's a super underrated rom-com. I'm trying to think what I loved. I loved Heartburn. Anything that really shows like a woman kind of going through distress from the aftermath of a relationship, I think are the best rom-coms, personally.
My favorite rom-com is Bridget Jones's Diary. That's my number one. And I do feel like that character was so, she was the first of that kind of woman really to be in a movie at that period of time, like I feel like she spoke to the generation in that way, as like a sloppy,
she was messy,
lovable girl. I saw myself in her, kind of in some ways very Brat Summer, as they say, but I love that.
Have you seen that meme where everyone's saying Bridget Jones was meant to be a fuck up and she owned a townhouse in central London by the age of 30?
I haven't seen that meme, but
that's so true. It's like she's 30 years old and everyone's like flipping out that she's like a lonely old Catwoman.
Yeah, it's like, I have big pants and I own a fucking townhouse. Please get off my dick. I'm literally
it's so
winning.
Awful. She really is. That's hilarious.
I was aiming to go see the new movie on Valentine's Day, but it's my dog's birthday, so I feel really bad going out on my dog's birthday to do my own shit. But
I don't think he might not know. Like, you might be fine.
I'd know. I can't betray my dog Blu-ray.
Wait, so what are you gonna do for your dog's birthday?
We're gonna watch a movie.
But not Bridget Jones.
Well, no. Sorry?
Isn't it on streaming?
No, Cinema Valentine's release.
Oh, got it.
So we've been reworking away through Woody Allen movies and Blake Edwards movies, and we've done all the Pete Bogdanovich movies. So, maybe like 10 or something could be cute.
Mm-hmm.
I think something like that. He likes those kind of middle-aged man movies.
We're talking about your dog, right?
100%. Yeah.
Does he like seeing other dogs on screen? Maybe a more dog focus?
He's okay. He loves the Detective Pikachu movie. That one hits hard.
Oh, that's so cute, honestly. But I think he deserves that on his birthday.
But genuinely, when I put on like an Annie Hall or a Stardust Memories, he really loves that shit. Or Peter Bogdanovich.
Tried watching Twilight with your dog? Is it the same as watching it with a straight man, you think?
Maybe I should try that. No, we've done the Twilight series. I didn't remember him responding, but there were, I sound like a crazy cat lady, but dog version. But there is a certain type of movie and a kind of vibe and a tone of those kind of 70s movies that he really fucks with.
Yeah,
where I kind of feel him. He's really sitting in, and he kind of needs his own letterbox.
You absolutely need, and you need to do a red carpet interview where he's asked his top 4.
Yeah, he's my logo for my publishing company now. I did a logo for him because instead of like, Penguin has the penguin and stuff. So Deep Into Movies Publishing is just my dog.
What kind of dog is it?
It's like
show us. Oh,
that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah, what's your cat called?
Her name's Link.
Link. Like the Sonic the Hedgehog? No, that's Lynx.
Like a mix of, the Super Smash Bros. Character and Lincoln the President, but just like the sound of it.
Okay, that's a good energy. Okay.
She's named after Abraham Lincoln.
That's a vibe. Okay, that's a good note to end on. I appreciate you taking the time to talk. Your movie is excellent.
Thank you so much. It really means so much.
Oh, yeah, thank you for having us. We're huge fans.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Speak soon. Toodles. Boom. That was me. There goes my dog. That was me and Cazzie David and Elisa Kalani talking about I Love You Forever. It's out now. Go get it on digital. Go get it in cinemas. And I will speak to you soon. Thanks to Joshua Eustace for my beautiful music and you guys for listening.